All right. Good morning, Avni. My name is Rehatam. I'll be taking a webinar this morning. So, just for our audience here, Miss Avni, she has graduated from the LLM batch of 2021. And Avni, if there's anything else that you'd like to add on to your introduction for our audience here, so could you please elaborate on the same?
Yeah, so good morning everyone. As Raj said, I'm Avni and I did my undergrad from IP University in 21. I joined Jindal back in 22 for my LLM. I did my LLM here in IP and Tech Law, and I did my dissertation in human rights and biopiracy. And then I graduated from Jindal in 23, and currently I'm working as a research associate with the Central Electricity Regulatory Commission. And right now I'm dealing with electricity laws, regulations, regulatory things, all that. So that is it for my introduction.
Avni, how just it's something that just to kick off the webinar, just to get into the flow of conversation. I usually ask this to everybody that I have a webinar with. How has the Jindal experience been for you when you were here on campus?
For me, it has been like a journey, and it has been really very great. Like I also found new good friends on a side note, but for like IP University is very great, but Jindal, I learned how to actually, research about things. Jindal actually gave me the resources to research about things like small things like JSTOR or Manupatra, SCC. Those things were so readily available when we used to study. Even the assignments were of a sort like they were flexible, but they were brainstorming sessions where I could, actually indulge into proper research and, answer the questions, make something new out of it. Like for me, the experience at Jindal has been very like smooth, fast paced, but yet I learned a lot. The teachers were also like very helpful, and like even the faculty members, like we could text them even in the night and they used to reply and all that. So it has been really good for me. And I also learned a lot of soft skills here also. I would like to emphasize, like uh, how to present my dissertation, all that. That has actually helped me in my professional career also. Like as a consultant, I have to brief senior authorities on a daily basis. Like back in 21, when I was working with NHRC, I reported directly under Justice Arun Kumar Mishra. He's a retired Supreme Court justice. So the things that I learned from presenting a dissertation were actually, incorporated there when I was working as a professional. So that also really helped me.
All right, Avni, thank you so much for that introduction, and thank you so much for sharing your personal experience that you had here at Jindal as well. So just to kick off the webinar itself, my first question to you would be, what practical steps can law students take in their second or their third year, to strategically position themselves for competitive exams or goals after their graduation if they want to get into something like that?
So first thing that I would like to tell all my junior students, co-mates, fellows, all that is just to stay motivated. Like don't leave any opportunity that comes to you. I like personally, I in my 5 years of law, I wrote research papers. I did moot courts. I was a part of the moot court committee. I did my internships. I did 12 internships in 5 years. So I would like to firstly emphasize on the fact that just be a go-getter, just be motivated. Don't leave any opportunity. Ki nahi, let's do it next year. Or no, we are not ready. Just do whatever you get. And to like strategically position yourself. Like in the very first year, I would say that you can intern in an NGO, some place where you can actually see what the society is facing, some place where you can actually see like lawyers or advocates as social engineers, what can we do for the society. First thing. Second thing, just intern at places where you can actually learn. Just going to courts won't help. Just interning under some senior won't help. It is you, like it is me who can shape my future. No one else can do it for me. So I would like to emphasize on the fact that do internships, where you actually learn skills that will actually make you employable. Skills like researching, skills like arguments, skills like little skills like how to file, like how to OCR files, how to make soft copies of files. Like there, these are little details which one can learn in like 1 week or so. But in the long run, they will actually help you to, fast track your career. Another thing that I would like to emphasize is doing moot courts, mock trials, client counseling sessions. Like these are small exercises, but they add a huge depth in your own learning. Like from doing a moot court, you learn a lot of things. You not only learn about the law, but you learn about how to, be a team player. Because in corporate world, you always have to be a team player. Sometimes you might know that you are right, and the other person might not agree to your facts, but then you have to be a team player and agree to them also, so as to have a mutual understanding of things. So by doing moot court, you also learn these skills. The third thing which I would like to emphasize on, that one should in their 5 years of law at least write one research paper which is not plagiarized. Like one research everybody can do in 5 years, and that research paper should be such that you add something to the public domain which is not existing. So I did a research paper in my third year of law, if I'm not wrong, second or third year. It was like I was interning with the Central Information Commission. It is the Central Commission for RTIs. So I did a paper on RTI and res judicata. So what it resulted in was like, in the commission they did not apply res judicata. So just to give a context, res judicata is a principle of civil law which says that same parties having same issues and which are adjudicated at the same tribunal cannot take the same case twice to that tribunal. So that principle started getting applied, they got the idea and it started getting applied in the commissions as well. So you can write one paper which can help you to get an edge over others. Today world is about getting edges over others, about being productive, about giving out in a way which is commercial also and productive also, so that we can make a habit to learn in the second and third year of your law. And also I would like to say that when breaks are there, one should also enjoy, like there should be a balance in life. That is like.
So, Avni, you said that, having research publications, you yourself were part of the mood court as well, and, editorial roles as well. So you emphasized on how important those things are also into how, you actually take on these the first steps into these competitive roles, competitive goals that we're talking about at the moment. So, how do these kind of habits actually, what is it that these students can help do to, differentiate themselves from the other people, and to get shortlisted into these kind of things, these kind of exams?
So I would like to like bifurcate this question into two. First, if you want to get into government roles. Second, if you want to get into corporate world, like tier one law firms like JSA, Trilegal, etc. So the first part, the government organizations. So the mostly I would say 80%, 90% government organizations, when they give out the advertisement, they have a scheme of marking. Scheme of marking includes how you will get shortlisted. So this scheme of marking is usually out of 20, and first 5 marks goes to your CGPA. So first thing is, during your law, you have to maintain a good CGPA so as to get shortlisted. One thing. Second thing is your work ex. So as law students, you generally don't have work ex, and they generally also don't want you to have your work ex because they hire you as young professional, which has 0 to 3 years experience. Third thing, what kind of research papers have you written? That is also marked. What kind of competitions have you been part of? That is also marked. So to have an edge over others, first thing, you can maintain a CGPA. so as to get shortlisted. Second thing is they usually have a column where they tell you that how are you well suited for the job, or what relevant experience do you have to get well suited for the job. So in that, one paragraph that can be very decisive in you getting shortlisted, in a person getting shortlisted. So there you can actually, inculcate things which are relevant to the job role. I have witnessed people, they write their own relevant experience, but they, tend to forget about what the job role wants from you. Like if I want to get into electricity commission, I can't write in the relevant part that I have done my masters in human rights. That won't make sense, right? I have to, make things relevant for them, not for me. So that is one thing which you can have an edge of. Second thing that you can have an edge of is like structuring your own data preferences, structuring your own things. Like you can do certificate courses during your law so as to, get an edge over things. Like I personally did a summer school in IPR, so that actually helped me. The other thing is I've emphasized on marks. And then the other thing is like during the interview you have to be very precise. Like usually the government officials, they don't depend on what your degree is, what you are doing. They just want to know that if you are the person who can get the job done. They pose certain questions into to you, which can, actually be challenging to answer. Like I personally, I was asked that you have done your masters in IPR when I was like interviewing for NHRC, and how do you think that your kind of a degree like IPR would help us in our commission? So that was a dicey one, because after your law and after your masters, you just want to get the job, you just want to get started. So what I did was like I said that I've done my dissertation in biopiracy and human rights. So I don't feel that human rights like human rights are present in every phases of the law. So something like that. You cannot always be relevant for all the job roles, but you can try to get relevant for all the job roles, because they also know, they what they want to see is like if you can get their job done. So to get an edge over things, you can like have good marks which are like collateral to your thing, and then you can also be confident enough to answer the questions so as to get an edge, so that they are, they are convinced that you can get the job done. Two things. The other part is like how to get into corporate world. So that is one thing which I have not done, but from my friends and colleagues I have like witnessed that if you have relevant skills, like for me, if I say that if I want to get into corporate world of energy regulatory, so if I have the relevant skills, they just pick you up. There is like no whole soul marks things, all that. They just want to know that do you have commercially employable skills, and that is it for them. So for the corporate world, I would like to say that just be skilled enough in your law so as to get picked. And I feel Jindal helps a lot in these things, like researching, giving opportunities, certificate courses, sending students to summer schools. Like for students at Jindal, these things are readily available. So like, yes.
So, thank you for your insights about those questions, Avni. You also talked about, having these skills, soft skills in your own, introduction itself while I was talking to you about your experience at Jindal. So, how do these soft skills come into play in these kind of things? How will these kind of soft skills help these students that are, looking for a job through competitive exams, in the long term?
Yes. So I would like to say that like if you are like there are assignments where you have to actually present your thing in the classroom. Like you are given an assignment which has some practical applicability question, and you have to present it in the classroom, and students face that in general. So those skills, actually help me during the interview, because some people do get frozen feet. Some people, they want to speak out things but they cannot, just because of some anxiety, you know so just to expose yourself to such platforms, like I was talking about moot court, I was talking about research papers. So ideally, when you write a research paper, you also present it in various platforms. If you go for a moot court, you research on a problem, you also present it at various platforms. So those soft skills can only be inculcated in a student if they expose themselves. And Jindal helps like a training ground. So, like they put you in places where you have to get exposed, where you have to speak. If you'll not speak, you'll not get marked. So those skills, actually get gradually incorporated. It is not a one day business, and they actually help you to present your things in a way which is actually feasible and the other person listens to it. Like I learned at Jintal that communication is only positive when the other person can comprehend what you are saying. If I am blabbering here and you can't comprehend, nobody can comprehend, then it is not a communication, right? So when I got exposed on a repeated basis, I inculcated that soft skills within me, and that helps me today also. Like as a consultant, I have to brief senior officials like IS level, secretary level, on certain complex legal problems which are regulatory in nature. And so the soft skills that I learned then, I can I incorporate them today to actually communicate in a way which is really efficient, and it personally gives me an edge. Like my certain colleagues cannot like just go there and speak up, but I can because I had that exposure. So for students right now, I would like to say that just be exposed, no matter if it is wrong or if it is right. No matter, like, one day, not all days are yours, but one day you can try and learn. One day you can stand up and speak, the other day you will get to the perfection. So that is what I was speaking about soft skills.
So yeah, I feel like soft skills are a part of, your own growth that way, where, again, I said before, like growth in these kind of things are very important. Because they turn you into the person that you are supposed to become. So I think having soft skills is another matter that actually helps you, helps you prepare for these kind of competitive exams as well as life as well. So, just carrying on the conversation now, so how do you think the students, with a clearer mindset about what they want to do in law, a more clearer path and focus on their legal narrative, um, how are they different and better, or, I don't know, different basically? So, from the generalist idea of the people that do not know what kind of law they want to get into.
So I personally, like, I would like to pose my own example. Like I plan to have a career in IPR, and I was really enthusiastic about IPR. I did my certificate course from Howard in IPR. I did it from WIPO. I did two from WIPO. I did summer school from WIPO. I also did my master's in IPR. But when it came to the part where I wanted to get placed or I wanted to get a job, it turned out to be human rights. So I would personally, from my experience, suggest students that having a bird's eye view of everything would actually be beneficial in their undergrad, not their postgrad. Like in their undergrad, they study like 10, 12 subjects, and it involves like most of the dynamic part of the law. So I would like to say that in your undergrad, just discover different fields, arenas, topics that are available to you, like for instance, arbitration or electricity law or criminal law. Just pick up a piece of everything so that you also get to know what is better fitting for you as a person. Like it is a lifelong commitment, and if you are not enthusiastic, motivated about it, like I know people who are into litigation and they cannot do anything, but they can only do litigation. They cannot get into job roles, they cannot do corporates. Why? Because it is their passion. They like cannot sustain any other job role. And for litigation, I would like to say that it is not about specializing. It is about your own grip over what case you are having. Like as an advocate, you might have cases from different fields. And then you gradually, settle down after 5, 10, 15 years to one particular field like admin law or criminal law or civil laws or arbitration laws or matrimonial laws. You get your, by learning, gradually doing it. But when you are building your blocks, building your home as a student, you cannot alter out any part of it. Like you have to be a part of everything so as to get to know what you want to be part of in a long run. So for the undergrad students, I would say that have a generalistic approach, but not that general also. कि you fail on everything, like you be master of all trades and jack, you be jack of all trades and master of none. That would be a a very dicey situation. But yeah, try everything. Get to know what you want to do as a person. Get to know what really excites you. So that is one thing. And I would also like to emphasize that when you put your efforts in something, like I put in my efforts in IPR, and then now I'm doing electricity law. So people might think that, oh, that was all a waste and all that, but it is not. When you learn one thing, you learn the other also. And in legal field, no two legal fields are isolated. No two legal fields cannot, like, they cannot be said that this is one place and this is another, and they cannot be linked. Law is such a field where everything is dynamic, everything is ever changing, and on a daily basis it changes. So every day you learn new things, every day you are exposed to new issues, every day there is one new issue which leads to a new legislation per se. So to be that person, to be able to learn the complexities of the system, you have to learn everything little and then specialize. I would say specializing is good when you are professionally employed and you can actually take steps towards one particular field.
So I
uh,
think Jindal that way has a very good, as you said before, I'll just try to reiterate the point itself. I think Jindal has a very good system here where they help you realize what you're actually into. So I think there's another saying that if you don't try anything, you won't know if it's for you actually. So I think that is one thing that Jindal does, I mean, does best, I feel. So, I
yes.
mean, exposing students to different, ideas of, study, different subjects. So I think that helps students narrow down what they actually want to do when they actually graduate or when they're looking for a job also. So that gives them a little, experience into the field itself. So I think that's a very good idea. Very good thing that Jindal does. So just to conclude the webinar, Avni, do you have any last minute thoughts or any thoughts on the topic itself? Any thoughts on your experience at Jindal? Anything that you'd like to share with the audience here? Any last thoughts?
So concludingly, I would like to say that it was really great connecting to you. And it always feels so warm, visiting the university. I was there for the alumni meet also. And it feels really warm to be at the campus, fond memories come up, all that. And for the students, I would like to say that you are at the right place at the right time. Just keep working on yourself, building yourself, and you are at a great institution that makes great alumni, great people. Like I also look up to people who have graduated from Jindal and are very well settled in life. So Jindal motivates you and gives you tools also to get skilled. And I feel as a student that is enough to grow. And for like, thank you for actually inviting me. It feels really great to be here.
Not a problem, Avni. Thank you so much for connecting with us, and thank you so much for taking out the time to do this. If you ever like to do another webinar with us, please do connect with us again, and we will surely do another one with you. So, thank you so much for connecting with us, and thank you for doing this. I'll see you soon. Thank you.
Sure. See you soon. Bye bye.
Thank you. Bye bye.